Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am here to help you master openSUSE Linux. In today's video, we are going to dive into the command line, learn how to get help when you need it, understand the shell environment, and also cover how to create a new user on openSUSE Linux or any other flavor of Linux. Whether you are a complete beginner or looking to sharpen your skills, this video has something for you. So let's jump right in. The command line is a powerful tool that allows you to interact with your computer using text commands. While graphical user interface GUIs are great for many tasks, the command line offers unmatched flexibility and control. Let's start with the basic commands. Open your terminal on openSUSE Linux. You can do this by searching for terminal. Here on KDE, the name is console. Okay. Or by using the shortcut Control Alt T. Okay. So now we have our shell opened. I created a folder before making this video, so to be our start point and to be our working directory. Okay, where is it? Yeah, work directory. Okay, Control L will clear the screen as you guys saw. So we can start with the first one, which is pwd. The pwd command stands for print working directory. It shows you the current directory you are in. So if you press enter, now it's showing you what is called the absolute path. Okay, so now this folder or this directory is already empty. So the second command is ls command, nothing there. But this command lists the files and directories in your current location if you run it like that. But still, you can give the full or the absolute path for the folder or the directory you wanted to run this command against, like ls tmp. It will list the files and directories there. We can run it against /var, the same. Okay, so and we have the command cd command is used to change directories, for example to move to your home directory or to other place on your file system. Now we are going to talk about the shell environment, okay, later on in this video, but just to show you guys that as a shortcut for your home folder wherever you are on your file system, you can just cd space and the tilde sign. Okay, it will just takes you right away to your home directory. From where this information, the command gets this info, is from a shell environment, which is, and we can show it like that, echo. It's like the same in print function in other programming language if you want to see what's inside a variable. Okay, and the variables in shell or in general in shell programming, bash programming, it starts with the $sign when you start interact with the value of the variable itself. So here we are. Okay, so now we have the other command, which is make directory, and let's go back to my work directory and let's create a bunch of directories, like make dir1, dir2. Okay, and press enter. If we did ls, we can see we have two directories here. So let's say I want to create a subdirectory under dir1 like this, and let's say sub1, and I want to create another sub which is sub2. Okay, if I press enter, now the command can detect that there is no sub1 under dir1, which it will be a parent for the sub2. So now it is telling me now no such file or directory. So to solve this, you can add an argument to make dir, which is -p, means if you couldn't find the parent directory at any stage or for the path I am giving, just create this parent directory. So if I press enter, now it got created. So if we did ls, if we do ls against dir1, we'll find here sub1, and under sub1 we can see sub2. Okay, so as we can see now, the next command, rm, this command is used to delete files, and for sure be careful with this one, as it permanently removes files or directories. But with the directory is a different story. So let's create a few files to show how the command runs. So if you guys remember from the last video, touch file 1, and let's create another one, file 2 and file 3. Okay, so if we did ls, now we have 2 folders, 2 directories and 3 files. So if I run like that on file 3 rm, the file gone. Okay, so be careful, it's not recoverable. So if I run this command against a directory, okay, yeah, let's do dir1 is a directory, the command telling you, helping you to understand that you are trying to remove a directory. So how to force that? The first argument, if I add -f, which stands for force, again it will show me this message is a directory. Why? Because in general directory has a by default it might has subdirectories or subfiles. So the command needs to understand exactly what do you want to do with this directory. So the argument you should add here, or you must add if you really want to delete that directory, is r. Okay, and here if I didn't add the f, the command will run normally. F is just in some cases if you want to force the deletion and like some reason preventing to delete the directory. So if I run the command, now the folder, the directory and the subdirectories gone, deleted, non-recoverable. So if I do ls, the folder is gone. Okay, so now let's go to the second point or second segment here. Everyone needs help sometimes, and the command line is no exception. Linux offers several ways to get help directly from the terminal. Okay, so most commands in Linux come with --help option that gives you a quick overview of how the command works. So let's try an example with the commands we used already, like ls -help, press enter. Now we can see it's long list of helping to make you see all the information or all the options that you can add to this command to change the behavior of the command, the default behavior of the command. Okay, so let's say there is another thing we will talk about later also in this video, which is aliases. But for now, when we run this command ls against /temp, it's showing us the folders in colored ended with /. Okay, and it can show us that there is 2 sockets here. Okay, so if I want to understand from where the ls command giving me this looks of output, we can run this command alias to show you the default aliases loaded in your shell environment. So we can see here many aliases. Okay, aliases means that you give a nickname for a long command with its option to make it more easier for you. So let's take an example here. Like if I just write L, means actually I run ls space dash lh, okay, and dash L for long listing and H for human readable size. So we have something here. Yeah, we can run like that. See, it shows us, and of course it's empty files, it shows us 0, nothing there. So it's the same if I run the alias like that. Okay, so here are a list of all defaults for using ls command. One of them in particular that I want to see, this one. It is using the default, I mean the absolute path of the command line, okay, and adding dash F and dash capital F is to show some kind of a sign that to know that this is a folder or directory. And when using dash F means add a front slash at the end of the name if it is a directory. Okay, so that's why when we run the default ls, which is an actual alias for the command ls, and we run it like that, so you won't see the difference. We can copy here the full absolute path and we paste it, because now it has no alias for this full absolute path. So if I press enter, see, you cannot differentiate between a file and folder or directory. So here we can see the way of aliases that helping us in making our life more easier. And also in the same time, like if you encounter in this situation, you have to see the help coming with the command to help you listing the files and directories in a more readable way. Okay, so you can go through all the options till you find the one that you need to use, like here dash F, classify, append indicator. See, it's so obvious. So I hope this point is already clear now. The other way to get some help for any command you run on your system, and it's a default thing coming with all flavor of Linux, which is the man pages. The man command is your gateway to detailed documentation. For instance, if you want to learn more about, let's say again, ls or the cp, which is the copy command. Okay, so for an example, I have two files here and I have this other directory, dir2. So I will create directory 1. Okay, this is one of the aliases. When we run the command alias, it shows us that we have ll, means ls dash l to give me a long listing. So we have dir1, dir2, and file1 and file2. So now I know that the cp is a copy command, but I don't know how to use it or what kind of options I have here. So you can just run man, okay, the command, and it shows you that there are two types of manual here. One is for regular users and one for system. If you waited for a few seconds, it will open the default one, okay, which is for everyone. So you can see here cp copy files and directories, and gives you synopsis about the command, how to write it, the option, and then space, source, destination. So now I understand cp space, the source and the destination. Okay, let's say you are trying to copy a directory, which option you need to use or to add to copy a directory. So q is to exit this manual. So cp space file1 dir1, okay, So now the file is copied, like a copy of that file, okay, went to that directory. So if I the ls against dir1, I will find the file is already there. Okay, similar to man pages, we have the info command provides documentation but in a more navigable format. Okay, some commands have both man pages and info pages, while others may only have one. So this command info, okay, sometimes it show more information about the command, more than the one that exists in manual pages or the man pages. Okay, and this thing is controlled by the maintainers of the command itself or the operating system. So here we can see the info for ls command, and if the info has no file to read from, it will read by default the manual page. Okay, so see that this is the first page from the info regarding the command ls. If I do man ls, I will notice it's the same, exact the same. So for me, info is reading the man pages because there is no info came for the command line ls. Okay, so mostly the info pages or the info or the information about a command, when it's like a big application like database command, some specific advanced networking commands, you will find an info pages for it for sure. Okay, and now we have some kind of like built-in shell commands. Okay, it's called shell built-ins. You can use the help command inside your shell to show you a list of like a brief help for the command, like that. Help ls. Here we don't have, and it gives me an information, help information to try help. If you don't know how to use the help command, man -k ls or info ls. The man -k ls, it means that search in the man pages about anything related to this command, like a search engine inside the man pages. So if we run this command, it will show me everything that might contain something about the ls command. Okay, so this one will be very helpful for anyone has no idea about what he is looking for. Okay, so I can do something like that. List. Again, it will show me the same possible man pages that I might be looking for, the same like before, and you can go through them one by one till you find what you are looking for. Okay, so don't be afraid to experiment with these resources. They are there to help you learn and become more proficient with the command line. Let's move to point 3 here in this video. Let's talk about the shell environment. When you interact with the command line, you are using a shell, a program that interprets your commands and sends them to the operating system. The most common shell on Linux is bash, which stands for Born Again Shell. Not Born Identity Movie, but it's the same spelling. Born Again Shell. Okay, that's how it's written. So this shell environment that we are going to talk about, and as we said before, that the shell is a program to interpret your commands and send them to the operating system. It is like some kind of a translator between you as a human being and the commands you want to send to the operating system to do the job or the task you asking or waiting for the operating system to do. Okay, so because the operating system doesn't understand any of these, I mean English, any other language, but only 0 and 1s. Okay, so this kind of translation happens in the background. You don't see it. It's in the kernel of the operating system. These commands, you send it, and there is something called system calls. Okay, and some other programs start to talking to each other, and then starting to the hardware, and after all that it start to give you the output and show you the output. Okay, so as I said, environment variables are dynamic values that affect the behavior of your shell and the programs you run. You can see all your environment variables by typing this command. Let's clear the screen here, and we write this command, print_env, which is a short for print environment variables. Press enter. I missed character. print_env. Now we can see all the loaded environment variables that I have in my shell. Some of them are default, some of them I created them, I mean I added in the shell files for my environment. We are going to talk about them later now in this video. .bashrc and .profile. Okay, so let's have an example about the environment variables here. We have the path variable. This variable lists directories where the system looks for executable files. You can view it with the same like before, echo. Okay, and we press enter. Yeah, don't get panic, and this is my system, my own preference, my use, so maybe yours will be less. Like, let's open another terminal here from the console, Control-Shift-T, and let me do sudo go to root, and we do the same. Okay, so here for the root, it's only these important directories to load command line. You can read it. What did that mean in this your shell environment and the home? This is where the shell will start try to find the command that you are entering in your terminal. Like when I run ls, okay, now the shell knows where is ls from these folders loaded in my environment, in my shell environment. Okay, you have another command called which, and this command will tells you what is this command in my file system. See, /usr/bin/ls. So let's say for an example, we don't have this variable loaded in my environment, in my shell environment. Okay, we can simulate that by using unset, okay, path. When we deal with the variables, I don't have to add the $sign here. The $sign only when you want to access the data inside this variable. Okay, but if you want to deal with the holder, you don't have to add the $sign. The unset here means unload this variable, like make it none, void, like nothing there. Okay, so if I press enter, now let's try to run the command ls. No such file or directory. The shell now doesn't know where is ls. If you run the command which ls, again no such file or directory, because the shell now has no idea about where this command might be on the file system. So this variable is very, very important for running commands from your shell. Okay, so this variable gets loaded automatically. Sometimes you can add or remove using your home folder initialization variable, your shell environment variables. Okay, so if I log out from this session and I try to log in again and I run the last command, why? Because it gets loaded again. So I hope this point is clear now. Okay, the same concept for the home variable. Okay, without this, the shell will never understand when you do this cd delta. So let's simulate this in another here, and yeah, here I am inside this directory. Okay, so let's say unset $home, press enter. See, because I added $, I forgot. Okay, so let's run cd delta. It made me go still to my home folder, but without showing here that I am in my home folder, which is the default is the delta. Okay, it is just showing me that the last directory I was there. Okay, so let's go and stand here in this folder. Okay, pwd. If I run cd home not set, now the shell doesn't know where is my home folder. I have to give it to it, but now maybe yes, maybe no, that no from this delta where is my home folder. Yeah, it seems it knows. So it seems like there is something in my shell environment have this delta identified with my home folder, but the cd alone, wherever you are on your file system, it will takes you directly to your home folder. So again, if I am here and if I run cd alone, the shell has no idea about where is my home anymore. Okay, so also be careful about this variables, especially some programs also rely on that variable, because from there they know about a folder called .config, which is your local configuration for some application, which is one of the important folders that you have to back up with your own data. Okay, so the same concept also, we have another variable. This one is $USR. It tells the shell environment what is my username, the user that I am using here. Okay, if I am root and I run the same command, it shows me that I am the root user. From here, from this variable, it can know that what privilege do you have, what kind of permissions you have. But not only this, is also relay on the ID. Okay, this ID that for root is 0. Okay, so let's move on for the next point. Okay, and in this point, how to customize your shell. As I said before, we have .bashrc and .profile. So let's delve into two important files in your home directory that allow you to customize your shell environment. As I said, .bashrc and .profile. These files might seem similar, but they serve different purposes. Okay, so for .bashrc, this file is executed every time you start a new interactive shell session. Okay, it's the same like when we do like now when we did before. Like if I open a new terminal here, tab terminal, the .bashrc gets executed. Okay, and all the content inside this file gets read by the shell and load the environment variables to my shell. Okay, or if I open a completely new, like Control Shift N, this is a new terminal, .bashrc will get executed. Okay, Control D to exit the terminal you have. Okay, and it is the best place to add shell specific customizations like aliases. As I said before, we will talk about aliases, functions, and environment variables that you want to be available in every terminal session when you're already logged in to your operating system. Okay, and by the way, I'm going to make a video about bash scripting and explain most of the basic bash syntax and how to use it. So let's continue. So let's say, for an example, you want to add an alias for ls-l. Okay, you would add this line to your .bashrc. Okay, so let's find something it is not loaded already in my shell by running the command alias to show me all the aliases here. So I can see that ls ll.l, long listing for hidden files. Okay, la l dot and l. So I'm trying to find something is not already loaded here. Okay, so here l la. Okay, we can create a new alias for la, and let's run this command and see. Okay, so let's say I want this la without the long listing. Okay, we can do this ls. Okay, and we can say ld. Okay, equal. And now, because this alias here, ls equals /usr/bin ls, is already there, so when we use the ls, it is using this alias. Okay, if I want something different, we have to use the absolute path. Okay, so I can use this now. Okay, and let's not use the existing one. I will use this. Okay, and you have to put it between single semicolon or single colon. Okay, and instead of f capital, I will add d. Okay, just to list directories. So when I do ld, it will just listing me the local directory, like it needs a directory to be listed. Okay, so if I give this command ld to temp, now it's showing me as a folder directory only. I want to see what is beneath. You can use something. It's used, it's called regular expression. Star means anything, any number of letters, characters on sequence. So it will show me the folder, but notice here there is no ending front slash, but it is showing the full path of the folders or the directories under /temp. So now I have a new alias here, but this alias will be gone Like if I opened a new terminal, ld, see, no input files. This alias, the shell has no idea about it. So to save this, so every time you open a new terminal, you have to put it on your .bashrc. Before we continue, let me do this. I will move my existing .bashrc to start from scratch to .bashrc. We spoke about mv before. This command, you can use it to rename files, okay? But this command is originally used to move a folder or a file from one place to another place, but also you can use it to rename files or folders. So here .backup, okay? So now I moved this file from this name to a new name. It is the same like renaming, like when you use F2 in graphical user interface or on Windows. So I will do the same to my .profile and .backup. And this is an important recommendation here. Any file on your system, you are going to change or alter anything inside that file, take a backup before you do anything, because you will regret it if you didn't, okay? And to be said, there is an information, I have to say it here. Any Linux flavor, okay, they have a folder, okay, under /etc, contains a skeleton file that you can use to start from. It's like a blueprint, okay, for .bashrc and .profile. And these files, for anyone to copy to their home folder, it's under etc skel for skeleton, but you cannot see them because they are hidden. Any file starting with dot on your file system is a hidden file. You have to use an argument in the shell to show the hidden files. Here this argument, as we saw in alias, I can use l dot. It will show me all the hidden files, but also with my home folder. So that's not what I want, so we can use like that, and you use -a to only listing the existing folder here. So let's run it again. We have a skeleton files folder that can be copied to any home user, okay? So the one I'm interested in is this one .bashrc and .profile. So let's copy these two, skeleton, and this is a part of shell programming. It will be explained in another video. Make sure to subscribe to see my next video when it's released. Okay, so bashrc and colon dot profile. Okay, so now my source is these two files. I have to put it in two curly braces, okay, if you want to group list of files to be copied to another place. So this is my source. My destination is the dot. The dot here, or the period, means the local directory or where I'm standing now. So I am standing now in my home folder. So copy these two files to where I'm standing now. And there is one period and two periods. The two periods means your or the parent directory to the place you are in now. So these things also we will talk about later. So let's show what the default of these files has. Nothing. And some examples you can read about them, like to what type of variables you would like the default editor here, okay, and this one to load this device for here if you want to use Palm device with Linux. So you need to uncomment these two lines, okay. and here see if there is a file, a hidden file called aliases. You can load all your aliases in one file, and when you open a terminal, this one here, this test here is an evaluation or an expression to evaluate. So this test, okay, is used in shell programming when you want to test something before you run a function on, or you run something inside your script. So here test -s means test the existence of this file, and this file is a greater than 0. It exists and greater than 0. So if this evaluate to true and check the second one, run it, dot space and the file. The and here means if the first evaluation is false, it will exit, means it will not do anything else. But in case the first evaluation of this expression became true, then the second one will run. Here this means or. So if this all testing evaluate to false, just do true. Why? Because you don't like every time you open a shell to see an error, or to see an error message for something not that important or big deal. If this is a big deal for you, you can change the evaluation expression here to serve your needs. What about the dot profile? Also the same. Okay, so about dot profile, this file is read only once at login for login shells. This means it's executed when you log into your system, whether via a graphical interface or a console login. Dot profile is the more general initialization file used to set up environment variables and other settings that you want to apply to the entire session. Okay, if you want something to apply to both graphical applications and terminal sessions, dot profile is the place to configure it. In other words, now we already logged in, so anything you want to be loaded in your shell session that you open, or your terminal, you put it in .bashrc. Okay, but if you want to load things on your way logging into your system, you put it in dot profile. Okay, so if like completely I log out now from my system and I have to log back again, so if anything you want to be initialized while you are logging in, you put it in dot profile. Okay, so now for an example, I can go here .bashrc, and let's close these so we can show our example, and we can add the same alias we used it before. Before we start, see, I open a new terminal. Now it's changed because the coloring came from my old .bashrc. So now I have an empty one. This looks of my shell. Okay, it's coming from the default operating system, from bashrc and profile files already in /etc. If there is nothing in your home folder, the shell gets populated by the variables in these files. Okay, so if I run this command here, I have different list of aliases. Okay, even the one ls with the -f color is made by me, so now it's not there. So if I do ls, see, no indication for anything. If I did ls2/temp to see, only color and that's it. Okay, I have to add something like -f to show me the front slash at the end to indicate this is a folder. Okay, so I can add, for an example, alias. space and USR. No, here we can make the default ls is ls equal. See, the coloring is changing now. And slash USR bin ls dash f dash dash color. Okay, and another alias. I can do what alias is loaded here. Alias. Okay, do we have l dot? We don't have l dot, so we can add this alias l dot equal. So we already identify an alias here for ls to show me or differentiate between folders and files and showing color. Okay, so we can use that, only ls, and dash d for directories, and especially if there is a hidden files. Okay, dot l dot here, I want to show the hidden, doesn't matter if it's a file or folders, and dot asterisk. Okay, dot here means anything start with a period, and asterisk any number of characters after this period. Okay, so let's close this, and now this is our new terminal. Now I didn't open a new one yet, so to make sure again, see, we don't have the ls I created or the l dot. If I open a new terminal and we run this ls alias, here we have the l dot and the ls I identify in .bashrc. So if I run the command ls now on /temp, now it's showing me the slash at the front slash at the end. Okay, if I run l dot, it will show me the hidden files in my home folder. Okay, I hope the thing is already clear now. So in short, use .bashrc for terminal specific configurations and .profile for broader environment settings that should apply to your entire session, including both graphical and terminal applications. So let's do more customizing in our .bashrc, and as you guys noticed that I used the vi command, and I will make a video about them or vi specific. About the total video will be only about vi and how to use basic commands and how to be comfortable with the vi. Why vi? Because vi by default on any Linux flavor. Okay, any Linux flavor distribution, vi is there. Nowadays many people, they tend to use another one called Nano, more friendly. Okay, more with shortcuts, and some people, they like to use it, but forgive me, I'm old school. I used to use Solaris when it's used to be some microsystem before Oracle acquired them many years back. So let's continue. You add your custom configuration, as I said, in .bashrc. So let's open this file again. Okay, and let's add something might be interested, and this one, echo, means print, and we can do like, hi, how are you today? And you can consider it as a sneak peek about shell scripting. And user, sorry. Okay, so this means every time I will open a new terminal in my session, it will show me a message, hi, how are you today, and my name or my username. Okay, so let's say I cannot wait, I want to see the effect right away. So you have two ways to reinitialize this file in your session, by using dot space and dot -rc, or instead of the period you use the word source. Okay, so either way it will reinitialize your file again. So mostly we use the period, okay, and sometimes we use the source with bash shell scripting. So as you can see, it's already printed there. So let's open a new terminal. The message printed and then the prompt came after. Okay, if I opened a new one, hi, how are you today? Yeah, but it seems like something didn't happen here, which is the username. So let's open this file again and see if I wrote something wrong. See, it's mistype here. Okay, user. Okay, so let's reinitialize it again. Yeah, hi, how are you today, Penguin? So I hope it's already clear now. Same idea. Okay, you can do it with the dot profile, but as we said before, dot profile is for a broader general use, like something you want to be initialized while you are logging in to your system. Anything after you already logged in, you use in .bashrc. Okay, so there is another topic we have to speak about, which is creating a new user from the command line. So let's now learn how to create a new user on openSUSE Linux, and also you can use the same information on any other Linux distribution. This is a fundamental skill, especially if you are managing a system with multiple users. Okay, so let's talk about that, about creating a new user. To create a new user, you will use the command user add. Okay, now here we need to be a root. Okay, excuse me. And just to add something here, usr add is the default command in all Linux distributions. Some distributions, okay, they created an alias by default, add user. And for an example, Ubuntu OS, Ubuntu Linux, they have this alias, and they went far with this alias. Like they get all the information needed while creating the username. Okay, and you can automate that, and you can, guys, you can leave that in the comments if you want to see a video about automating creating a user, like to emulate the same way that happened on Ubuntu. I will be happy to show you how it's done on openSUSE or any flavor, any Linux flavor. Okay, so okay, usr add. And if you guys watched my video during the installation for openSUSE Linux and when Leap, and when we finished the installation, we changed something in /etc. And let's go. Okay, let's clean all this and open a new one. Okay, thank you. And sudo -i this file etc log n defaults. And here the default here, user groups enabled, it was no, and we changed it to yes. Without this one, when you create a username, new username on your operating system, it will not create a new group with the same name as the username you are going to create and assign this group to that user. I mean, to assign this user to that group as the default group, the primary group for this user. Okay, so make sure that this variable is yes before you create any user on your openSUSE Leap. Okay, so here the command, if I just wrote the command user add and press enter, it will show me by default all the options that you can use. Okay, so there is a file in my file system under /etc. Here, see, by default you can run this command instead of go and read that file. usr-d, it will show you the defaults. If you just run this command and you just write the name of the username that you want to create, what is going to happen? So the group by default, the primary group is this, which is the user. The home folder will be created under /home. Inactive, no, it will be active, -1 here. It means it's disabling this parameter. Expire, nothing. The user will be active and not expire. The skeleton, the shell default will be /bin/bash. The skeleton /etc/skeleton will copying the files and folders under this path to the user, the new user you are creating home folder. Okay, and create a mail spool. Yes, okay, we will talk about that later, but by default users on the same operating system, they can communicate with each other through a built-in email service. Okay, it is only local on your operating system. These variables or parameters, you can change them, and as far as I remember, it's under /etc/default, and here under this command, this file, user add. So if you go and edit this file, but make sure to take a backup for this file before you editing it, and you can change the parameters here. Like, you have bunch of users, you are going to create a bunch of users, and by default you want them to be assigned to a primary group. You can just put the group ID here. Whatever you want to do, you can just change it here. Okay, so because we edited the file /etc login defaults, and we make enable group yes. Okay, so now when I run this command, user add space user1, by default, I mean now it became a default, the user add will create, of course, by calling another command called group add, and give the name for the group the same name that we will give for the user, which is user1, and the same ID, user ID, this username will get. Also the group ID will be the same. So if I press enter, okay, so let's check the home folder is created or not. It is not. So by default you have to create the home folder for the created user on openSUSE Leap. So if I try to list all the information about the user1 ID-A, so now as we can see, the ID, the user ID is 1001, the group ID is 1001. Okay, that's the primary group and created by the command line. The user add is calling another command, which is group add, and the same way if we press enter, it will show you the defaults for the group command, group add command. So now we need to make directory for the created user. Okay, and we press enter, and we need also to check an important file to see the user add. By default, he put the default path for this username in /etc pass wd, and shift G capital you go at the end, and we can see here, yes, it added here. Okay, so now we created a home folder, but now we have something else to change. User1 as a user and the group is owned by root. We need to change that. So to change group and user owner of a folder or a file, we use the command chown. Okay, and if there are many things under the folder that you are going to change the owner of it, okay, you have to add minus r dash r capital. Okay, and the username colon and the group name, and we give the absolute path of the home folder. Okay, user1. This command chown will change the owner of this folder and everything beneath it. The dash r here means recursive. So I press enter. If I go here and I run this command again, now it's all owned by usr1. The last step after you do all of that is to give a password for this user to be able to log into your system, and it's straightforward. The command is passwd for password and the username, and you press enter and you add the username, the password. Now the user is created. So let's simulate a login to that user. I can do su switch user -l for a full login. Okay, and I write the name of the username and I press enter. Now I enter the password. Now I am in my session, the username penguin, but I was able to switch to another user and entering the password for that user in one of my terminals. Okay, and sometimes you got the need to do this for whatever the situation is. Okay, it's the same like you did a remote login for another system, but you're already local on your system. Switching between users on the system is something normal on Linux. The same way when you switch from your regular user to root to do some administration tasks. Okay, so now for that user, okay, id-a usr1. This user, I want this user to be able to run sudo and switch to root. So what is the group for the sudo? And this file sudoers, okay, we open that file, is wheel. So we need to assign this user to this group wheel. User mode is for user modification. Okay, and the group add, because in back in my head I was still in creating the username and adding the group. So it is user mode modification -a g capital, the group name, and then the username, and then you press enter. So when I do id on user1, now it's part of the group wheel. On openSUSE, any changes to groups, adding group, unfortunately you have to reboot your system. It doesn't matter if you log out and log in again, it will not get initialized. You have to reboot your system. I tried many times, but it seems it doesn't work till I reboot my system. openSUSE Leap, openSUSE Tumbleweed. Why? You guys can ask the maintainers of openSUSE why this thing is happening. Okay, and that's how you create and manage new users on openSUSE Linux, and also it's almost the same on any Linux distribution. This is especially useful for multi-user systems, as I said before, or if you want to create separate accounts for different tasks. So let's say you want a username that you log in when you do a video editing, another one if you do some kind of graphics, another one for development, programming, whatever. Okay, so far we spoke about ls and the cd command and the copy cp and how to create an alias and what the meaning of the environment variables. Okay, and also these environment variables, you can manipulate them by editing your .bashrc or .profile. Okay, if you want something to be changed, like for an example, the path, if you want to add more path to this variable, you can add it in your .bashrc and it will be initialized when you open a new terminal. So that's it for today's video. We have covered the basics of working with command line, how to get help when you are stuck, the difference between .bashrc and .profile, how to create a new user, and how to understand and customize your shell environment. Mastering these skills will make you much more effective at using openSUSE Linux or any other Linux distribution. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more Linux tutorials and tips. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated with my latest videos. If you have any question or need further clarification, please drop a comment below. I am always happy to help. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.